The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agree to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
About is whether or not Benjen Stark knew the truth about Jon Snow. This is something fans like to discuss, but there is something else I want to talk about because I think there is evidence that may suggest Benjen knew a hell of a lot more than just this. So let's get into it. I think it's safe to say Uncle Benjen is a beloved character, but we don't know that much about him. We do meet him in the very first episode, and we come to find out he is a man of the Night's Watch, who is also brothers with Ned Stark. Benjen arrives at Winterfell during the feast, which is held for King Robert Baratheon. When Benjen does arrive, the first person to greet him is his nephew, Jon Snow. Although we don't know much about either one of these characters at first, it does seem very clear that they have a good relationship with one another. After they give each other a hug, Jon tells Benjen he was not allowed to attend the feast because Catelyn thought it would be insulting to have a bastard sitting around the royal family. This is when Benjen tells Jon, "You are more than welcome to join the Night's Watch. No bastard was ever turned away from providing service at the Wall."
The Wall isn't going anywhere.
I'm ready to swear your oath.
You don't understand what you'd be giving up. We have no families. None of us will ever father sons.
I don't care about that.
You might, if you knew what it meant.
Depending on who you ask, this conversation between Jon and Benjen is the basis for one very popular theory that I want to talk about today. As I'm sure all of you know, the truth about Jon Snow's parents was one of the best kept secrets in Westeros, but some people believe there was one other person who knew about this secret, and that was Benjen Stark. At the beginning of the show, we are led to believe Jon Snow is Ned Stark's bastard son, but we later come to find out Ned lied about this in order to keep Jon safe. Jon is actually the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. At the time of Jon's birth, all the Targaryens were getting killed, and Lyanna knew if Robert Baratheon ever found out Jon was Rhaegar's son, he would have him killed as well. So Lyanna made Ned promise to keep it a secret. It was Lyanna's dying wish, and as far as we know, Ned took that secret to his grave. Ned obviously never told any of his kids, or even his wife. Catelyn hated Jon because every time she looked at him, he was a constant reminder that the Honorable Lord Eddard Stark fucked another woman. Ned went to great lengths to keep this a secret, but could he have told his brother, Benjen Stark? This is something most of us have wondered and would like to know. Unfortunately, there is only one problem. As far as we know, Ned and Benjen are both dead, so we may never actually find out what he knew. The only way we could probably ever find out is if Benjen had a secret diary at Castle Black, or if Bran had a vision of Ned and Benjen talking about this in private. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, why would Ned tell this secret to Benjen? Why would Benjen need to know this information? Well, depending on how you want to look at it, I think Benjen did deserve to know the truth. Out of all the things Bran could see in the Weirwood net, we are shown Benjen and Lyanna playing together as kids. Well, one reason could be to show the similarities between Arya and Lyanna, but another reason could be to show just how close Benjen and Lyanna were. This is something Ned Stark would have obviously known, because they all grew up at Winterfell together, even if they all did eventually part ways once they got a little bit older. So even though Ned made the promise to Lyanna, I don't think she would mind if Benjen knew. When you consider the fact that Lyanna, Benjen, and Ned were all brothers and sisters, don't you think Ned would have wanted to tell Benjen what actually happened to their sister? I mean, what do you think was going through Benjen's head when all these rumors started to circulate about the sister he loved? All throughout Westeros, people were saying Lyanna was kidnapped and raped by Rhaegar, which was apparently so violent it led to her death. Why would Ned allow Benjen to have to think about that for the rest of his life? Would he really want his own brother to continue thinking his sister was raped and killed? Hell no. He would probably want to give his brother peace of mind. He would want to let him know all those crazy rumors aren't exactly true. But you had brother, Ned and Benjen were the only two left from their generation. Their mother was gone, their father was gone, their brother was gone, and now even their baby sister was gone. Don't you think Ned and Benjen would have became even closer after something like that? Besides the statues down in the crypts of Winterfell, the one thing they had left to remember their sister by was Jon. Maybe this is another reason why Benjen was always so happy to see Jon. Not just because he was family, but because every time he looks at Jon, he sees a little bit of his sister, and it reminds him of all the great times they had together as kids, when they would chase each other around in the Godswood. Alright, now I want to move on to the second part of the discussion, because I believe there is some evidence later in the show that does suggest Benjen knew more than just that. By the end of Season 6, Benjen Stark might have had the answer to just about anything, and I'll show you why. After Benjen disappears in the first season, we don't see him again until Season 6 when he rescues Bran and Mira Reed. When they escape from the Three-Eyed Raven's cave, Benjen saves them before they get surrounded and overran by more whites. Then he takes them somewhere that is relatively safe at that time. Then we find out some more information about Benjen, and this is what he says.
The White Walker stabbed me in the gut with a sword of ice. Left me there to die, to churn. The children found me. Stopped the Walker's magic from taking hold.
How?
The same way they made the Walkers in the first place. You saw it yourself.
Dragon glass.
Benjen said that when he led the ranging party, they went looking for White Walkers, but the White Walkers ended up finding them instead. One of the White Walkers stabbed Benjen right in the gut with his ice sword. Then he left Benjen there to die, and hopefully turn into a White. Thankfully, the Children of the Forest showed up and saved his life. They were able to stop the Night King's magic from taking control of Benjen, but they had to shove dragonglass into his chest to do this. Now, what happens after all this is still a bit of a mystery, because Benjen never says what he has been doing the whole time. This had to have taken place in the first season, because that's when Benjen's other brothers were found by Ghost.
To me, Ghost. Bring it here. God's be good.
It's so, without a doubt.
The other one's Jaffa flowers, my lord. That's the hand the wolf tore off.
Any sign of Benjen or the rest of his party?
Just these two, my lord.
The only reason why Benjen's body wasn't laying next to theirs was because the children came along and saved him. But where the hell did he go? Did he stay out there all by himself trying to find more White Walkers for over 5 seasons? Or did something else happen in the meantime? Well, let's think about what Benjen actually said to Bran. When Benjen said the children saved him, Bran wanted to know how that happened, and that's when Benjen said they were able to save him the same way they created the White Walkers in the first place. You saw it for yourself. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting, because how the hell could Benjen have known what Bran saw inside of the Weirwood net? Benjen wasn't inside the cave with them when Bran came out of that vision, so how did he know what Bran saw? Well, I think there is really only 2 logical ways to explain this. Either the Three-Eyed Raven or the Children of the Forest are sending Benjen all this information through visions, or Benjen is able to go inside the Weirwood net by himself. Now I know we've never seen Benjen do anything like this before, but you also have to remember 2 very important things. Not only does Benjen have Stark blood, the blood of the first men, but he also has that dragonglass in his chest. As far as we know, there is only one other character that has dragonglass in his chest, and that's the Night King. We all know the kind of things the Night King is capable of. We have seen the Night King go inside of the Weirwood net with Bran Stark. Not only was he there, but he was able to manipulate that vision, which allowed him to reach out and grab Bran by the arm. We know the Night King got all his powers from the Children of the Forest, after they inserted the dragonglass into his chest. So I think since the children did the same thing to Benjen, he may be able to do some of the same type of things. We know the Children of the Forest have full access to the Weirwood net, and it seems like whenever they shove dragonglass in someone, it gives them very similar abilities. This could be how Benjen knew what Bran had just seen inside of the Weirwood net. Now let's take a look at another scene, because Benjen says something else that makes me think he knows things about the past, present, and future.
You must learn to control it before the Night King comes. Drink. One way or another, he will find his way to the world of men. And when he does, you will be there waiting for him. And you will be ready.
Benjen says you must learn how to control your visions before the Night King comes. You see, Bran is still seeing everything in fragments, but once he's able to piece everything together, he should be able to find all the answers that he's looking for. Benjen tells him one way or another the Night King will make his way past the wall, and when he does, Bran will be there waiting for him, and he will be ready. Benjen is basically telling us exactly what's going to happen. One way or another, the Night King will make his way south, but by the time he reaches Bran, he will be ready. After Benjen had the dragonglass put into his chest, he might have learned everything, including how it all ends. Now let's tie this back into the beginning of the video. As I said before, there is a very good chance that Ned told Benjen the truth about Lyanna, and ultimately her son Jon. Benjen might have known this the entire time, but if for some reason he did not know the truth about Jon at the beginning, he definitely found out by the end. If Benjen had access to the Weirwood net, just like the Children of the Forest, and Bran, and the Night King, then he could have gotten the answers to just about anything he wanted. That's more than likely how Benjen knew Bran had seen the Night King's creation, and that's more than likely how he knew Bran would be ready when the Night King arrives. Therefore, he would have seen everything having to do with the endgame, which means he would also have known exactly how important Jon Snow is. He may have been watching everything the entire time since he went missing, which would also explain how Benjen showed up just in time to save Jon's life. If he knows how everything will play out, then he would have known that he needed to be in position to save Jon's life. That way, Jon can go on and help Bran defeat the Night King. What do you think about Benjen Stark? Do you believe he knew the truth about Jon all the way back in the first season? Also, let me know if you think Benjen was in constant contact with the Children of the Forest, or did he have his own access to the Weirwood net after he had the dragonglass put into his chest? Leave some of your thoughts, opinions, or questions down below. I would like to hear what you have to say. I want to thank everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate that. And I also want to thank all of my supporters on Patreon. I hope everyone has a great day. I will see you all very soon. Bye.